Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we're going to be looking at a potential MCC Underdogs 2. Now, if you don't know what MCC Underdogs is, let me introduce this in the order that I have decided on my screen. We're going to get there eventually, alright? Anyways, yesterday I made a video about MCC Season 4 players and who may or may not return. And that got me thinking. There's a lot of people that have played in MCC Season 4, obviously, but there's also people who have not yet played in MCC Season 4, and a large portion of these people have never even won. Mostly because a lot of them are new to the roster, but there's also a couple people who have been in for a little while who still have not had a win yet, i.e. Jack Manifold. So, I think it would be really cool if, for the anniversary event this year, if it were in no circumstance, or in any circumstance, if it was not yet determined what the anniversary event for MCC this year would be, which I'm sure Nox would have already picked it, but if it was not yet decided, I would suggest MCC Underdogs. And I'll explain as we continue forward. MCC Underdogs, also known as MCC 27, was probably my favorite event that I can even recall regarding MCC. Overall, I'll show you the roster here. Boom. This roster was just really interesting. It was different, but it was like a large portion of returning players. There were some really interesting newcomers that were thrown into the mix, and it just made an overall very cool event experience for me personally. And I know a lot of people agree. Underdogs just is a really cool environment. The most comparable thing I can give this is Block Wars Rookies, or just Block Wars like 11, Block Wars 9 type of vibe, where it's like a few like experienced Minecraft players and a bunch of lesser experienced Minecraft players all together. So yeah, probably more akin to like a Rookies, maybe like a Rookies 1, because it was a little higher balanced, because this isn't like weak comp, but it's not strong either. Regardless, I think Underdogs is a fantastic event that MCC hosted in the past. I think the last time they hosted this was 2022, so it would be 2 years ago if they do it again. It was around the anniversary time, or it might have been the anniversary event, actually, for 2022. Regardless, I think it would be really cool to see this back in action. The only issue that I have with potentially Underdogs happening is that this year is the 5th anniversary of MCC, I think, and that, like, you know, I could see them being like, oh, 5th anniversary, let's get everybody back, and obviously a lot of players will be excluded because they've won already, so that's like the only issue I could really take with it. Otherwise, I think it'd be very cool, a very cool way to incorporate a bunch of the people back from Underdogs and from other events, and also to incorporate potential newcomers. I will say, I made a roster of players. I have not included any newcomers because I just forgot. I'll be completely honest, I just forgot to do it. But there definitely is a lot of people you could still add to the MCC roster, and I think an Underdogs environment would be the most welcoming because the skill level is a lot lower than a typical MCC is. Either way, let's move forward. MCC Underdogs 2, here's my selection of teams. Don't look into it too much. I will go through every single one of them, and I'll explain a little bit about how things work in this roster overall. Everyone you see on the screen, as far as I can tell, and I could totally have missed something, are all people who have played MCC before, but not won any MCC before, I think. And then we will continue forward. Before I get into the teams, there's a bunch of other people who, from Season 4 and like other Underdogs events or like past events close to like recent MCCs, could be included in the conversation of should be in. So like past Pride players, past Underdogs players, past whatever. I did not include Rising because that is a bit of an asterisk. One thing with Rising that people need to remember is once you allow one Rising exclusive player in, it should open the door for others to join, and then the conversation of is it fair comes into play. That's why I just don't include Rising in these types of things typically, because people could complain. Either way, let's go over these teams. Red team started off as a Hermit trio. Initially, I had Tango on this, but I am going to just assume that unless Tango gets like a full team of people he knows, he might not want to play. So I just replaced Tango with X, because I think Azuma would obviously want to play. And I give him Kuriway. He's family friendly. He's good at the game. I know he likes Hermitcraft. I think it should work well as a combination. would be really cool. Could be a pretty strong team just because Kuriway's on it, but we'll see. Orange team makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's Owen and Eloise with Michaela and Gucky. Just makes a lot of sense. Yellow team is kind of a more OG throwback-esque team. You got Ant Venom with Dan TDM. I think they were on the same team. Yeah, they were on the same team last time in Underdogs, so run that back. Then give him FitMC, who obviously should know Dan from QSMP, and then Mythical Sausage is someone who I expect should be able to fill onto the team pretty comfortably. So that would be very fun. Lime team, Vault Hunters team. These people are all members of the Vault Hunters SMP. Harry, Iskal, Abe, and Ryan Higa. I know Abe and Ryan, I think, wanted the team, or at least Ryan wanted to play again with Abe at some point, and I'm sure Harry and Iskal should be fine with them, because obviously they know each other from Vault Hunters. Green team is like your OTV and Friends type of team. I did end up splitting the original Cyan team from MCC Underdogs, the first one, because I think it would be a little bit strong potentially in this roster. I think the comp in this roster is a little lower than it was previously, so I took out, or I split that team, also because it's more interesting, I think, if the individual players are still in, but in a different way. So Timmy, Box, Janet, and Blau, I think would be an interesting combo. I'm not too sure how familiar these people are with each other, but I'm sure there's at least some connection that works. Cyan team is another OTV and Friends team. This one initially had Ludwig instead of Myung because I was like, Toast, Saikuno, Lily, and Ludwig sounds like fantastic content, but Ludwig fits on a different team, obviously, as you can see. But Myung should fit super well on this team as well. Would be very nice. Aqua team is like your UK Minecrafter-esque team. I don't know if Piso wants to be classified as a Minecrafter. Not sure if Lexi wants to be classified as a Minecrafter either. But Lewis and Jack totally are. This would be a very fun combination and would be great chemistry, I think, across the board. Should be really cool. Blue team, I was trying to figure out how to fit Sasha in because I don't think a full, obviously a full Simmers team wouldn't be able to happen anymore. Also because Zeus has already won. But I think Sasha and Lizzie, as far as I could tell, know each other. And then Lizzie knows like G and Akko knows G, so that should work. I think that could be really fun. It's like another mostly UK team. Sasha is not from the UK, but she'll fit in, so it should be fine. Purple team, another OTV and Friends-esque team. I didn't pay attention to the colors too much, but I tried a little bit. Foolish, John, Tina, and Ray. Obviously, I don't think I need to explain how that would work. It would work. And then pink team, Smant, RT Game, Ludwig, and Jacksepticeye. Obviously the most like out there, I think, team in terms of how big it is as creators. I mean, Ludwig and Jacksepticeye on the same team is kind of nuts, but it should work. I think RT Game and Smant work really well on this team as well. I assume RT and Jack know each other just based off of vicinity and location. And then Samantha and Ludwig obviously have made plenty of content in the past, so that should work perfectly fine. And then down here in the white tier were people who I thought would be easy to incorporate potentially in another Underdogs environment. And then the rest, obviously down here, there's still a lot of people that could easily be put into the roster for an Underdogs. I just thought that they were maybe less likely to be invited specifically for Underdogs, and I think other people would potentially get invited a bit sooner. It also just depends on what teams work, etc., etc. So this is my Underdogs roster. Let me know if you would like to see Underdogs again. I personally would. I think it would be really fun. Underdogs, like mentioned, is probably one of my favorite events in recent memory regarding MCC. Obviously, Shane was in it, which was really cool for me, and for him especially. But obviously, one of my best friends being in MCC after so long was sick. A bunch of newcomers, which I always was a fan of. A bunch of variety streamers, which I always was a fan of. And lower comp, which I always was a fan of. So this is just right up my alley. MCC Underdogs is like the Wolfeei Silver Platter MCC event that you can't make me any happier probably with a roster. Anyways, I think Underdogs should be relatively doable as well. Obviously, this roster is big. Like, it's not. We should not ignore that the picks I made here probably are a little unrealistic overall. There's no shot that all these people are available on the same day to play in an MCC. However, I think it could get pretty far with a selection akin to this, and I think it would be really fun to see in action. Anyways, let me all know what you think of Underdogs, and let me know what event you would like to see on the anniversary this year, which is November. And don't mention All-Stars, because I personally, well, I don't think All-Stars should happen, but it is what it is, man. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.